How's it going, everybody? Part 2 of my Injora, sorry, hard body Jeep project. It's on a TRX 4 Sport chassis. Has been quite a project. Several times I wanted to quit, but I'm glad I did now. It turned out pretty cool. Not finished, but I had to drive it, so I just kind of threw some things together to get it on the trail. So here's what it looks like, the body. Lots of detail. I put an action figure in here. I hooked him up to the steering. I hooked a servo up to the steering wheel, so I have a little movement, not as much as I wanted, out of the wheel. Something I'll have to deal with later, I guess. But he's perfect scale. Did have to cut a hole through the floor to get his feet in. It was either that or cut his feet off. It just seemed easier to cut a hole in the floor, because you already have to cut a hole in the floor just to get the body on this chassis. As you can see down in there. The only thing I don't like about this body is, you can probably see right here, the doors don't line up. And when I push on the roll cage, when I push it forward, this whole thing forward, you can see the doors, they get straighter. I think it has something to do right in here. It seems like this section in here might be a little too long for some reason. They do make some tubular doors. They're just half doors, but they're tubular, and I think I'm going to do that anyway. But I think you could probably work this out if you wanted to, but I don't know. Not a big deal to me. Fairly easy to put together. A lot of it snaps together. Door panels, they just snap on. Handles and everything just push in. Everything that goes down on that, like this section here, I mean, there's lots of screws under here that hold this all together. It's pretty durable. I mean, I've rolled it pretty hard, and this is a heavy truck, so I was surprised nothing broke. I did break this part right here, and I'm not exactly sure when, but I'll do something about that. But anyway, I'll show you underneath. This was all just white plastic like this. I just kind of sprayed it black to kind of black everything out, so it didn't really stand out when you're looking in the fender wells. There were some little tabs or something like this, like these right here, and I had to grind those off so my receiver box would fit, because it's just that tight. To get this to sit down as low as you possibly can, the transmission right here hits right here. So you will have to cut this corner out to get it to set centered and as low as possible. If you could cut this section out right here, it would go down a little lower. But if you did, I don't know where you're going to put everything, because the battery almost touches under here. I mean, the sound box probably wouldn't fit if I did that, which is not really necessary, but you'd probably have to find a different place for the battery. And you can fit a 2-cell or a Shorty 3, but you can't fit a regular length pack. It's just not enough room. These steps here, sliders, these are off the TRX4. I cut the brackets off and drilled and tapped them through the side of the body right here. This piece right here is actually one of the mounting brackets off my sound box. It just kind of seemed to fit the, you know, the situation. It just hooks under my winch like that, and then I have 2 pins that go through back here, and then it pins under here with 2 clips, because I wasn't really sure how this body was going to mount on here. And these are just 2 body posts I took out of they were extra in my wife's SCX-10 when she got it, and I grabbed those out of there, and I just drilled and tapped them from the top, put 2 screws through there, and then cut them off the bottom, and then drilled a hole. This is the stock bumper bracket, but I can't remember if it was the front or the rear. We've chopped these TRXs up so much. We have a box of parts, and just digging through there looked like what I needed. It fit, so that's what I used. So I just drilled 2 holes through that, and it works pretty well. It's pretty solid. It doesn't move around. I cut this piece here. You can see there's a gap right there. I cut this inner piece right here off the battery tray that came out of here, so that the back of the body right here sits in that groove to hold it. And then these, I don't know what you'd call these not running boards, but you know what I'm talking about. These are originally on the TRX4. I had to cut them off at an angle, and then just keep filing away until they fit right inside these rails. And it fits perfect. It's tight, flush. It worked great. And that kind of keeps it from wanting to shift this way, since the front just hooks under. It doesn't really, all it's doing is holding it down. It's not holding it side to side. So this does. I had to cut, this is the receiver box for the TRX4. You have that extra little piece out here that where your wires fed in. I had to cut that off, seal that up with a piece of plastic, and then just shoved all my wires through that plug that you'd pop off to hit your reset button or whatever that is in there. not a lot of room left in there. It's really, really tight. I got in a hurry, just wanted to drive it, so I just double-sided these down, and this has come loose. I need to do something with that, but they have to be, I mean, sitting here, they have to be right there, because this box sits up in that recessed place, and that's the only way it'll fit. Let's see, these are the stock shocks on the TRX4. I don't have the springs obviously on the rear because I took the shock tower off. You pretty much have to take everything from the transmission back, strip it off. I did have to cut like a 1/2 inch off the frame in the rear to move the bumper forward so that the axles would line up with the wheel wells. I did end up shaving a little off the front. You see right here, the frame kind of hung, kind of curved it down. I just thought it would look cleaner if I just cut it off flush. This bull bumper, just got it off of Amazon. This battery tray, you would call it, I guess now, was a skid plate that came in a kit off Amazon. It had these, a belly pan, this, it went back here on the back, and then it had these skid plates. This is one of them that went on the front and the rear, but I just used this one for some little platform to mount my winch control too. And then I have a battery that sits right here, an auxiliary battery that I'm running my lights off of, that I need to get mounted right there. And it probably wouldn't work so well if I didn't have my steering servo mounted to the axle. Because you'd have your servo up in here. So it might, I mean, it might be a little more difficult trying to find a place for the stuff. If you didn't have the sound box, that'd be some more room there. But I tried the sound box in the front right here, it would not fit. But because I just made a bracket for that steering box, and it's very tight, but it was a challenge. If you're looking for a challenge, one of these bodies is a challenge to put, well, especially on this chassis. I don't know about others, but this one, it definitely is. Well, let me hook up my batteries, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I got everything buttoned down. I got my light switch actually in here in front of the seat. Still kind of a pain to get to. So you got lights, yeah, lights, green lights. Okay. And I guess you may be wondering why I have lights on top. I was going to print decals. I was going to call it Mud Patrol, so that's why I had the lights on top, but which they do work off the radio. So there she is. Not as much movement as I wanted in the steering wheel, but I'll work on it later. Had to have the horn. All right, well, that's it. Thanks for watching.